Hi, welcome back, all my crafty friends. I'm glad you're here with me today. And today we're going to be using the mixed media kit from Tres Jolie. This is the July kit. And we are right now just filling up the little pen that comes inside of your water color paints. And then I'm grabbing some of the watercolor paper that you get in the kit, and I'm just kind of brushing some of the paint on top of there. I did already squirt water inside of each of the little paints that are in there. I didn't put a lot of water, just just a couple of sprays. And I'm letting this kind of pull around the area when I put it on. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab the next color and kind of put it up to that area that pulls. And then just kind of let it, drop down or whatever it's going to do, and we're just going to keep going back and forth and back and forth, and I'm using all of the colors together to create this background. And I thought this would be a good share with you because this is how you can create some really fun backgrounds with your watercolor paints. Again, this brush has water inside of it, so you just fill it up, you go ahead and place the cover back on, and then you simply go ahead and squirt the water down as you're placing your paint down on it. And then it'll still be kind of a little wet. You can definitely use a heat gun to dry this, and I'm going to share that with you here in just a minute. Now, these paints are metallic watercolor paint, and they are absolutely gorgeous. And they're so pretty, they're so vibrant and colorful. And I'm going to share with you a few other ways you can use these. So here I am drying this with a heat gun, and then, or you can set it aside to dry. Tags. Okay, so here I cut some of the remaining cardstock into little pieces. And we're going to take a little stencil, and we're going to use it on one of these, and we're going to make some tags out of here, or little bookmarks, whatever you want to do. And for this, we're going to go ahead and we're going to use our watercolors onto our watercolor cardstock. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to switch some water down here. Okay, I'm going to take my paintbrush, okay, and I'm going to go ahead and just add some water on here. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and just squirt water. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and dip my brush in here, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to color this on here. Now remember, it is watercolor, so you are going to get seepage underneath your stencil, but we are going to use another technique here in just a bit. So I'm just going to use my stencil here. We're going to continue just pushing this down, and then I'm going to rinse, grab my next color, go ahead and brush that into there. There we go. And we're just going to go ahead and keep brushing that down. And then I'm going to grab my next color, brush that down over our stencil. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab my pinks. And again, if you want, you can do one whole color. You can do a blend of colors. You can do whatever you would like. Next, we're going to grab this color at the end. And I really want this color to show. There we go. And now you can go ahead and you can let this dry like it is for a little bit, or if you want to, you can pull it off. Now remember, there is going to be seepage underneath here. So I'm going to leave mine here for a second and I'll be right back. Okay, so I let it dry for a little bit. I kind of was impatient, so I did lift it a little sooner. And you see the little seepage on the top and a little bit on the bottom. Not so much in the middle, but you'll go ahead and just pat that dry with a napkin or cloth, whatever you have. And I just rolled paper towels across it. Next, we're gonna go ahead and start on the next. Tag or bookmark. Now, I did make these into bookmarks for my daughters. We're reading a book as a group, and so I went ahead and made them some bookmarks. So here is the next one. Now with this one, what you're going to do is get a little bristle brush, the one in the kind that we use for our inks. You're going to wet your um, metallic watercolor paints just a smidge, not a whole lot. And you're going to grab that paint onto the brush and you're going to, in a circular motion, go across the top of your stencil that's laying on top of the watercolor paper, okay? Now I am going to speed this up a little bit, but you can see I'm not really getting any water onto the paper. There, like I said, there's a little bit of water inside of the paint itself. So, but if you need more water, you'll just spray just a little tiny bit in there just so you can grab the paint and kind of brush that onto your watercolor paper. This technique is so fun, and I actually prefer this technique over the one where you use the watercolor or the water with the paints over the stencil. Not that I don't like using the water over it, but I just feel that with this particular stencil and doing the brush, it gives it more of a definition for the pattern. And I really love how this turned out. Now, I did a gradual colors of the pink. And then at the bottom, I went ahead and did the last two purples that were in the watercolor palette. And I just love how this looks. Now, when I peel this off, you are going to absolutely love it. And I think this will be one of your favorite techniques. And if you can, please try this out. For this next one, what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead, make sure your brush is clean, but we're using the same color palette. We're just going to go ahead and I'm just, no rhyme or reason, just grabbing colors from the palette and applying them on my watercolor paper. And I'm not really following any sort of pattern or anything. I'm going to use all the colors that are in this palette and just kind of scribble them on wherever. And again, just no rhyme or reason, just get your colors on top of your watercolor paper. And then we're going to use another stencil and we're going to use the chocolate butter paste. And this is Oh, this turned out so pretty. I hope you all like it. It's the chocolate stencil butter, and this is by TCW, which is the Crafters Workshop. And we've used other stencil butters in previous kits, and they are so beautiful. They're just so creamy and they're easy to work with. So I hope that you like this one. I really thought it was fun to make. And I love the background because you get this beautiful pastel kind of watercolors, and then you have this brown or this chocolate brown, I should say, that is just beautiful. And it really makes those colors pop in the background. So as you can see, I'm just drying this with my heat gun, and you'll just dry the top and then you can turn it over and do the back just to flatten it out a bit. Okay, so here I'm just getting ready to go ahead and put the chocolate butter on top of this stencil. So I'm just getting my little um, magnetic holder, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm grabbing my little knife, and I'm just grabbing a little bit of the butter. Now, a little bit goes a long way. I did end up having to get some more, but like I said, a little bit goes a long way. So as you can tell, I'm just placing that on there, applying that on. And I did get kind of underneath, like it wasn't perfect, but it's handmade. So, and I am not a perfectionist so much when it comes to mixed media because I make a lot of errors, and sometimes you get a little bit of paste underneath your stencils. So I try not to be too hard on yourself, or on myself, I should say, for when I do that. So yeah, so I just get messy when I do mixed media. I don't know about y'all, but that's how I am. So here I'm just placing that all the way around, and I'm just placing some more on top here. And then we're going to go ahead, we're going to take this off. And this does come off fairly easy. So there we go. Look at how cool that looks. And then you want to just wipe off the sides so that way your tag looks, doesn't have any extras on the sides of your tag. So here I'm going to start decorating my tags. So here I grabbed some paper from last month's kit, and the reason why I used this one was because one, I had a few scraps left over, and then two, it really matched the purple really well from the water colors that we used. And so that's why I decided to go ahead and use this paper. So I'm tearing it and just kind of um, getting it kind of roughed up a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and use my distress ink, and I'm just coloring around the edges there. So I color around all of the edges, and I'm going to go ahead and use this for the top and the bottom of the tags, and or the bookmarks, I should say. I keep saying tags, but you can make these into tags, or you can make them into bookmarks. I chose to make them into bookmarks, again, for my daughters, because we're all reading this book as our group book, and it's pretty fun, I have to say. So we picked out a good one. And so if you want to know more about some of the books that I've been reading, I'm really into thrillers, mystery, crime stories. And when I say thrillers, I mean like scary books. So I don't know if any of you are into that sort of thing, but I really love reading books. I also do audio books. So I listen to a lot of audiobooks while I'm crafting, and I love it. So let me know if you all read any books. Do you listen to audiobooks, or would you rather prefer a actual book, paper book? Let me know what kind of books you all like to read. I would really like to know. So here I'm just going to go ahead and I cut out some of the ephemera pieces from the scrapbook kit for this month's scrapbook kit for July. And I'm just getting together bits and pieces of the ephemera and just using my distressed purple ink. And I can't remember what the color is. I just remember it's purple. So you can use whatever ink you would like. And I'm just going to go ahead and start setting up some of these little pieces. Like I said, I had scraps left over from last month's kit that really went well with the purple, and I felt with the pinks on this metallic watercolor paint that we used from the mixed media kit for July. So I'm going to go ahead and play some music while I decorate. Okay, so we're done with the little bookmarks that I created and the card. And I think these turned out so cute. And we used the metallic watercolor panel along with the watercolor paper that you get in the mixed media kit. We also used the chocolate stencil butter. And I just think that these turned out super cute. I hope that you liked today's video. Thank you all so much for joining me. I have all of the links down below for you. Take care, and I will be talking to you soon. Bye. Thanks for joining me today, y'all. I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial and head on over to Tres Jolie to check out their shop. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and comment, and join me Friday nights at 4:30 Central Time.